Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Andrew Weber. I'm the Director of Insights here at Teikametrics. Today, we're going to be talking about what's coming up for Walmart sponsored products, and then along with some other kind of good stuff you can really take with you as we kind of move towards Q4 and into the new year. So with me today is Jason Magee, who's the Senior Director of Sales over here at Teikametrics. And has dealt with kind of our Walmart offering really since its inception early in 2020. And really happy to be joined once again by Stephanie Prasad, who's the Senior Product Marketing Manager over at Walmart Media Group, who deals with, again, really everything related to kind of sponsored products on the Walmart side. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, well, thank you. Stephanie, you're a repeat offender on these Teikametrics webinars.
Yes, definitely. Happy to be here again.
Awesome, and we'll give everybody a few minutes. I see a bunch more folks dialing in, and the attendees are going up. So we'll give it a couple minutes. But if you all don't mind, just drop a note in the comment section just to make sure you can hear us okay. Also, I'd love to know where you all are around the country and world as well. So love to make sure we're coming through loud and clear. And if I don't see any messages, maybe it means you don't hear us. So we'll give everybody a quick second here.
Yeah, and just maybe some housekeeping notes that we can also take care of as folks are coming in. Just a reminder, you will receive a recording of this webinar roughly 24-ish hours after this webinar ends. So you'll see that come through your email. We'll also send along the deck just as an added piece there. And secondly, please feel free to ask questions kind of as part of the webinar. So I see some folks are already popping them in, but take a look at that questions bar. That questions drop down on the right-hand side of your screen. Again, and don't feel like you need to wait till the end of the webinar to do so. So as you know, if a question comes up, as Stephanie or Jason's talking about something, feel free to pop it in there. And again, it's just in that questions drop down there. And we'll get to basically as many as we can at the end of the webinar. So thanks a lot, and I can see some folks, or I see some from Michigan, Boston, which obviously hometown here. So great to hear from you, Texas, Tempe, Arizona. So we got a lot of representation from all over the country. So that's great to see.
Awesome, yeah, love to see it. We'll give everybody quite a big jump in the attendees. So we'll give it a quick second. Stephanie, how's California life? How are you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. Can't complain. It's sunny today. We've, a lot of the smoke has cleared the last week or so. So yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, that is awesome. If anybody does care to know, before we broadcasted, we were talking about the impact of the smoke and the wine taste from the grapes that's happening in California. So we'll be talking about a much different topic on the webinar today.
Sounds good. I think we can maybe get started now that we're just a few minutes past the hour, and it seems like most folks have gotten here. So just to do a quick kind of note for folks, if you're not familiar with Teikametrics, to give you kind of a quick rundown, we're a technology platform, and what we do is we pair our SaaS product, which allows you, if you like having the hands-on keyboard and dealing with advertising yourself, you can have that. But we also have a team of expert analysts, and really that's really part of our key Walmart offering, is really helping you grow your sales. And we do this across thousands of brands, both across Amazon and Walmart.com. Obviously, Walmart's going to be the focus of today. And we're one of just 4 API partners for the Walmart sponsored products offering. And again, you can see some of the brands we work with here. So now a quick rundown of our agenda for today. First thing we're going to be talking about is some new targeting options for carousel ad placements that you may be familiar with. You typically see these again kind of at the bottom of the search page and other places. Stephanie's going to be talking about that. Then we're going to be talking about, okay, Q4, right? It's coming up. It's pretty much here. How should you be gearing up, kind of thinking about some of that functionality in that context, in the context of Q4 and all that's going to be coming with it? Then we're going to be talking about, in relation to Teikametrics, some of this new reporting functionality that we've begun to kind of deploy for clients that use us. And then Stephanie's going to come back with some really great tidbits around just some heads up for you guys in terms of what's coming from the Walmart Media Group in relation to sponsored products and other ad products as we get into 2021. There's definitely some stuff that folks are really, we know they've been looking for a long time, and that's stuff that obviously we're really excited to hear from Stephanie about. And then just to wrap it all up, talk about a really recent success story. In terms of sellers, if you're dealing with kind of smaller budgets on Walmart, it's a really great story about a seller that really was still able to really see great results even within that construct. So really a lot to cover, and obviously we'll get to Q&A at the end. And again, just for those of you that came in late, just remember there is that questions drop down on the right-hand side. As questions come up, feel free to pop them in there. We'll get to as many as we can at the end of the webinar. So with that, pass it over to Stephanie.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so the first thing that we want to talk about today, as Andrew mentioned, is a new targeting option that we now have available for our manual campaigns. So this was a very, very recent release, so we want to make sure that you're aware of it and you can take advantage before the holidays. So if you are familiar with our ad placements and how our manual keyword bidding campaigns work, previously manual campaigns only were eligible for our search in-grid placement. We've now added the carousel placement to our manual campaigns, which means you can now keyword target for the carousel placement. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I just want to make sure everyone is aware that it's currently only available for the search page carousel. If you're familiar with our ad placements, we also have carousels on the item page as well as the cart page. Those are not included at this time, but you are going to get the carousel on the search page, which is arguably probably one of the most valuable carousel placements. And along with this addition, we now have a placement report that's also available for manual campaigns. So you will be able to see performance for manual campaigns across the search in-grid placement and then this new carousel placement as well to help you better optimize.
Well, that is huge.
So again, just making sure that you kind of know how to use manual campaigns. So manual campaigns in general are a great tactic. When you see a SKU that's working well for you in automatic campaigns, we want to convert those over to manual campaigns. So again, that's going to get you visibility in the search in-grid, as well as this carousel placement now at the bottom of the search page. So many of you are probably aware that the requirements or the eligibility requirements to win a search in-grid placement are fairly strict. So this is a great opportunity now for you to get page one search exposure with the ability to keyword target again. So you have the ability to get more ability on page one if you may be showing up, currently on page two or three. So, it's still very early on. So, Teikametrics is the process of kind of testing this out across a variety of campaigns and brands, but, it does show, really good promise, again, to help you get more visibility on page one.
Yep, thanks Stephanie for that. And again, this is Jason Magee, Senior Director of Sales and Business Development at Teikametrics. Just to double down on what Stephanie said, the reason why carousels, and we love it so much, is when you're running manual targeting, you typically get a lot less impressions on manual campaigns because you're only limited to search in grid placement. The fact that you can now do carousels is just an incredible way to spread where you can get impressions and also control the bids associated with that as well. And also, we talk about this a lot, the whole concept that the flywheel effect is, the more you are not only just getting impressions, but you're actually getting clicks and converting on those clicks, the more positive association those keywords will have on your organic placement as well. So it's another way to help to push up products in how they rank organically as well. So thank you so much for that, Stephanie. I'll take this next part, which is talking about gearing up for Q4 and some even more specific changes. One that is huge is Walmart recently relaxed their minimum budget commitments. It used to be at a campaign level, you had to be willing to spend at least $1,000. It doesn't mean you spent $1,000. I mean, that's where you had to set the minimum maximum, if that makes sense. Now that's only $100 per campaign and over the life of the campaign. And we look at it from a daily perspective, it used to have, you had to at least set it to spend $100 a day. That's now down to $50 a day per campaign. Now, this is extremely beneficial for a number of reasons. One, if you want to figure out and test different features or levers, the ability to test bid multipliers for top of search. Now you have more the ability to use those and stretch your budget a little bit further. And then platform placement by device type. I'll get a lot more into this further in the presentation. One thing that's huge is think about if you have a medium to larger size catalog. So we recommend that you should have one product per campaign. The challenge is let's say you had 10 products and you don't have the budget to 10x if you want to have 10 automatic campaigns, you would have to have $100 minimum commitment times 10. Well, the fact that it's no longer $1,000, but it's a $100 campaign budget or $50 a day, instead of having to group multiple products in an automatic campaign just so your budget would work, you can now split them out further into smaller groups or even ideally individual product campaigns. It's great for folks with larger catalogs to split this out. And with splitting this out, you can control and isolate multiple variables. Now, this also follows an incredible announcement that we made with Stephanie on our last webinar, which is search term reports are now available for automatic campaigns, so you can see which specific keywords and search terms are actually driving sales on automatic campaigns. Now, as we get into Q4, look, we're a data science company. It's really important to talk, numbers as best we can, and we'll get into that. But let's start by looking at supply and demand in Q4. So supply, think about supply being the consumers, AKA that traffic that's coming to search on a marketplace like Walmart. Now, the demand is the demand of advertisers, advertisers that are buying advertising space and bidding on keywords on marketplaces like Walmart. Now, supply, meaning the amount of consumers that come and shop for products, completely outweighs the demand, which favors advertisers. So to put this in another way, yes, there are more advertisers buying advertising, but the traffic for consumers completely outpaces the increase in advertising. So sellers, this is your Super Bowl. Obviously, folks who sell products that do incredibly well in Q4, but even if you don't and you don't have products that are specific for Q4, you're going to benefit and you can benefit from increased traffic. So we like to back it up with examples. So let's look at some highlights from a high velocity and a high traffic season last year on another marketplace. So this is important because we can use this high data scenario. It's a great analog and very analogous of what you can expect in Q4. Now, before we talk numbers, let's actually talk about our methodology because this is very important. So what we did is we analyzed over 1,500 products sold by our clients. And what we did is we compared that selling event of Monday and Tuesday, compared that to the last 4 prior Mondays and Tuesdays, and what their sales velocity was, and the metrics will show you. And the products each had to have at least one sale in those previous days. So you're going to see here the blue represents what actually happened during that sales event, and the pink or fuchsia is what happened outside of that sales event. So let's look at cost per click. What actually happened is during this peak sales event, cost per click actually lowered, and conversion rates actually stayed the same. So what does this tell you? People often think, oh my goodness, it's so expensive to advertise during the holidays. The data doesn't actually suggest that. I mean, again, this is going to be different. This is at a high level. We can talk about specific catalogs, et cetera, on a more granular approach. but don't be scared just because you expect it to be a lot more expensive. Now, when you think about the cost, there's an incredibly important point where you should think about considering uncapping budgets in Q4. So if there are profitable sales to be made, especially in Walmart's first price auction environment, you can have tighter controls over your bids and associated costs. So let's actually back this by more data as well. So let's look at some different metrics over that sale event and the prior sales event. Let's look at ad spend. Now, in this particular case, ad spend on average per client of ours increased by 33% over the non-sale event. But what happened to the 2-day total revenue over that time frame? We saw the total revenue increase by 540% over that 2-day period. So you're only spending an additional 33%, but look how much, if you shut your doors off and there's customers, quote unquote, outside of your shop, be present, keep your doors open. This is how you do it. Now, again, it goes without saying that we might see slightly different behavior, but with coronavirus and COVID and everything that's been happening, we do expect a huge uptick in the selling season. Remember that in Q4 doesn't mean you advertise every single product that you have. Be very strategic. So how you be strategic is, number one, make sure that you have healthy margins on these products. You want to make sure that if you're going to apply advertising these products, it's worth it to make sales and spend advertising on those products. Another thing is look at low tacos while revenue grows. Tacos is a metric that allows us to see of your given revenue, how much as a percentage of your total revenue are you spending on advertising. If your revenue is growing, but you're not spending as much on advertising, you can make a strong case to invest in advertising to further scale and drive top line sales growth. Another very important one is gateway products. As an example, if I sell, let's say, a very, very nice light fixture, and I also happen to sell the light bulbs. If you're selling the light fixture, make sure you're advertising and selling the light bulbs alongside of it, or anything that can lead to residual sales from that product. CPG items are just incredibly important during this time as well. If you're realizing as you come, if you need to get rid of inventory, whether it's an old style or an older model, and you're going to be rolling out a new model in the new year, it's a great opportunity to start clearing out some of that inventory. Also, do not forget that launching new SKUs during Q4 is actually an incredible time to do so, because half of the battle is getting meaningful data that you can then make a decision. Do I have product market fit on this product? Can I get sales velocity? Well, if you have a high traffic selling season like Q4 with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Walmart just announced they're doing a sale event calling the Big Save that overlaps with Prime Day. These are great opportunities to get new products out there and to get some meaningful data that you then can use to deem how you optimize that product going forward. So let's talk about some latest best practices on Walmart from Teikametrics' point of view. Number one, the order to manual structure is now replicable on Walmart, because since you can now get keywords and keyword performance metrics from automatic campaigns, not only do you use automatic campaigns to take advantage of all of Walmart's ad placements, search and grid, buy box, carousel, you're also finding good keywords all the time that you should then be moving to manual campaigns. So folks who are used to doing this on Amazon and other channels, you can now do this on Walmart. Another announcement that, Stephanie, I believe you may have mentioned this last time, which is where search and grid placements actually show up. It used to be they showed up on slots 3, 5, 6, and 12 on a search engine result page or Walmart result page from a search term. Now it's open between 1 to 12, and you can see placements actually mix in with all of those. So with these new ad spots, the incremental value of advertising getting a search and grid placement can certainly have changed. A lot of cases, it can significantly improve how valuable it is for you. So take stock of that when you're thinking about advertising and how Walmart's adapting and growing their Walmart product advertising part of their business. Now, reevaluate where and when to deploy bid multipliers. So top of search can certainly be a valuable place with the new inventory that's becoming available, and Steph will talk a little bit more about that later. I'm actually going to show an example of a platform placement by device type, which is just an absolute gold mine. And this is something very unique to Walmart. Now, Walmart rolled out some other features and reports like the item health report, so you can now see how often you're winning the buy box. This is coveted. It's very important because if you're not winning the buy box, you can't even serve up an advertisement, and you can't even sell an item. Your sell-through rate and conversion rate isn't going to be nearly as great if you don't have the buy box. It's amplified by what's happening and what we expect in a high traffic scenario like Q4. Lastly, get your fulfillment plan set and make sure it's competitive. So Walmart has done a lot in the realm of expedited shipping, between rolling out Walmart's fulfillment service, using third parties like Deliver, which we did webinars before. Having at least 3-day shipping time dramatically improves your conversion rates. So let's actually get into a few examples here. First example is report by platform performance. Something that's incredibly powerful with Walmart is you can see whether an advertisement was served up on desktop versus Walmart's mobile app, which is one of the most downloading, last time I checked, it was top 1 or 2 most downloaded shopping app on the iOS App Store, and then mobile devices. So if you see that a product is moving incredibly well on mobile or desktop, you can actually leverage bid multipliers to make sure you're getting better placement on those devices. That's just incredibly important. Lastly, going back to a specific example, the Walmart Marketplace team shared this on a previous webinar. This actually shows what you could expect on average an increase of conversion rate depending on how quickly you can ship items. As you can see, if you can promise a 3-day delivery and even have the 2-day shipping tag, you can see your conversion rate spike as high as 41, 42%, just by making sure that you can deliver products effectively and on time. This is only exacerbated by the fact that as we get closer to the holidays, folks are less likely to purchase products if there's any concern it may not get delivered in time. So this is incredibly important that you have your house in working order before you do that. Last thing I will share, I did want to talk about some new reporting and functionality from Teikametrics. Now, I mentioned the item health report. So the ability to get buy box win rates and percentages, as well as how complete a listing is incredibly impactful to understand why advertising is really working, or if something isn't going right, potentially you're not even winning the buy box. You need to be able to isolate these variables to actually take action on them. Walmart also rolled out a 14-day attribution reporting instead of their, I believe it was 3 and 30 before. So now you can get more comparable, very similar to how Amazon has a 14-day winner. Now you can compare like for like and get really granular in how the data is actually being portrayed. Lastly, manual carousel places by targeting. As I mentioned, if you now can get more exposure on manual campaigns, and historically you have better conversion rates and ROAS because you can control every keyword you bid on, imagine what getting enhanced placements will do to your performance. With that said, Stephanie, I'll turn it over to you to talk about some new capabilities for Walmart sellers coming in the new year.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I just want to highlight and let you know some of the exciting new innovations that we are expecting to come in 2021. So we can talk a little bit about some improvements we've made to our search in-grid placement, and that you can now show up in any slot between slots 1 through 12. Next year, we do anticipate being able to open up more slots in the middle and bottom of the search results page. So additional slots will open up essentially after slot 12. So there will be more than 2 ads now will be eligible to show up, within page 1. So it will be a great opportunity to get visibility for those products that may not meet the relevancy requirements to be within the top 12 slots. The next placement that will be available through our API partners, including Teikametrics, is our search brand amplifier. So that is a placement that is available on Walmart.com today. It is the placement that shows up above the search results. So you'll generally see it with a brand logo as well as a few promoted products. So now, starting next year, you will be able to get access to that placement, which is obviously going to be the highest viewability, highest click-through placement, and will be available through Teikametrics, which is really exciting. We also then plan to make additional enhancements to manual campaigns. We just talked about how the search page carousel is now available on manual campaigns. Next year, we plan to add additional placements on the item page, so the buy box as well as the item page carousel. And then we do also plan to make available the ability to negative keyword target on manual campaigns. So you may be aware that we don't have negative keyword targeting available today, so this will be our first kind of launch of negative targeting next year, specifically for manual campaigns. And lastly, improvements coming to reporting. We will have placements for both as well as manual campaigns to be able to see specifically how it's performed across every placement. You may be familiar with our reporting today and know that we report at the page type level, so search page, which is item page versus browse page. But this is going to give you one more level down to actually see the individual placements and their performance. So a lot of innovations and exciting new features. So stay tuned. In 2021, as we roll these out, we'll continue to do additional webinars and make sure that you're aware of how to take advantage of each and every one of these new features.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Stephanie. And then just to round us out today, we promised we'd share the case study that that Andrew Weber was talking about earlier about working with a relatively smaller budget. So very excited to share this case study that we did with Baby Trend. I'll give a little bit of background. Baby Trend was running successful campaigns that were managed directly by the Walmart team. And what happened is Walmart identified that they think they could accelerate growth and performance through tapping Teikametrics and obviously supporting sponsored advertising for Baby Trend. The challenge was that while this was happening, while we were getting off the ground, COVID hit. So there's a lot of uncertainty, especially very early on, and budgets oftentimes were pulled out completely. But in this case, they had to go to market with a smaller budget, and we had to do the best we could with a smaller budget, at the same time balancing goals and aspirations. So what did performance look like? Their goal was to improve their ROAS and then get to a point where they could tie meaningful ROI through benchmarking and making sure that budgets could open up if they were to see good results. The results were, although they were already running successfully with the Walmart Media Group, when Teikametrics took over, we produced a 5x return on ad spend. The tactics that we did is we built up custom campaigns that actually fit the brand's budget and balance what their goals were at the exact same time. And through this pandemic, Baby Trend was able to more than bounce back. And by June, sales were very strong and rising. And then this put Baby Trend in a very comfortable position to actually double their ad spend because they were tied to specific KPIs and ROAS metrics that were very important to their business. So if you all have questions, you want to see what we did for Baby Trend, please reach out. That leads us to the Q&A portion here, a little bit of a shorter webinar than we typically run, which is great. I see a lot of good questions in here. You can reach out to me directly, but with that being said, Andrew, I'll turn it over to you for Q&A.
Sure. Thanks so much. And yeah, a lot of great stuff covered. I think the first thing is, Stephanie, I noticed your, excuse me, your audio cut out just a little bit when you're talking about specifically around the placement reporting, and I saw some questions coming around that. Could you just reiterate kind of what are, what's on the roadmap regarding the placement reporting?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. So for the placement report, I think next we plan to make a placement reporting for both automatic and dial campaigns. You're aware our reporting, that lowest level that we go to today is the page type reporting. So the search Trust is going to give you performance data one level deeper than that at each of the individual placements across all of those product pages.
Great. So I think kind of one question, I guess kind of alongside that is, I imagine obviously these improvements are mostly focused on the US marketplace. Is the one question, this is from Baptiste, he was asking, kind of, is the Walmart Canada version kind of having similar improvements? Is that kind of on the same time schedule? Is it a little adjusted?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm actually not super familiar with Canada advertising. We do kind of run them separate since they are separate websites essentially. So I would encourage you to reach out to your contact, and they should be able to get you all the way info on kind of what their roadmap might look like for next year.
Great. So this is a question from Matt, and I think this is something that either Jason or Stephanie can answer, which was when you're looking for those, he was specifically asking kind of a more question, just how do you access those search term reports for auto campaigns? Where should you be looking for those? Are they kind of different from what you see normally? Are they anything around that in terms of how you just find those?
Stephanie, did you want to answer that one? I'm happy to.
I think you should answer from a perspective of how you locate them within the Teikametrics platform.
Yeah, so I'll answer it two ways. If you go to your self-serve portal, I believe I may butcher the actual name, but I believe it's the item keyword report, if I'm not mistaken. Within Teikametrics, there are a number of ways. We have we actually cover it in our reporting directly back to the client on a week-over-week basis. You're also going to see some of that functionality come to our self-serve reporting portal as well. So it really also comes into, depending on the client that we're working with, how frequently you want to see it, how many keywords that you want to go back, etc. The beauty about using Teikametrics is once we set ground rules and understand your goals, in terms of migrating them over, we handle all of that for you. And we also can report back on what we did, why we did it, et cetera. That's a part of our standard operating procedure, how we manage our clients. I will say that getting access to the search and reports, both on auto campaigns and especially on manual, like the beauty about search term reports on auto campaigns is a lot of times these are search terms people are actually using to find your products, but a lot of times they may catch you off guard. Oh, I didn't think about it, spelled that way or positioned that way, etc. You should constantly be taking those keywords that are performing well and match them up against your listing to make sure that they're well represented in your listing. And if not, if you add those keywords in your title and your branded content, that is very important to help you be in a bit better position to rank better organically as well.
Great, that's some great advice, Jason. So, question here, it's kind of an involved question. This is from Jacob. So this was, he basically, and I'm going to summarize because it's kind of a longer question here, but he was saying that one reason why his brand kind of didn't go at kind of a one SKU per campaign structure was because of the higher minimums. That obviously now that those minimums are cut down, that's a lot easier to do. But he's concerned, this is something that I guess Amazon does, which is kind of a campaign score. And he's worried that, well, if he restructures his campaigns more towards, now that there's lower minimums, into these single item campaigns, which obviously is kind of a best practice, would that hurt any kind of scoring on the Walmart side, or should he just go put his campaigns in kind of this more single item structure and not worry about kind of any kind of effects that maybe you can't see initially?
I can touch on this, but Stephanie, I don't want to talk over you. If there's something you wanted to mention first.
Yeah, I think that's the net. Not sure what the campaign score would be used for, but we don't do any kind of secret scoring in the background, so you don't need to be concerned about that at all. Please go ahead and feel free to reorganize your campaigns however you feel that.
The other thing on top of that is Stephanie's right. The other thing too is it doesn't have to be rip the Band-Aid off. It can also be an iterative process where you start introducing single item campaigns, and then you remove those items from other campaigns as well. So you could start pulling certain products and keywords that you're advertising for and only advertising those on the manual campaigns for this single item structure. So that would be a way I would go about it, is also an iterative approach. That would be a best practice I would recommend.
Great, so we have a few more questions here. So next is, this is from Jennifer. She wants clarification, will that search brand amplifier, will that be just manual only, or will that also be for automatic campaigns? I imagine that's manual only, but I don't know if you have some clarification there.
Search brand amplifier is actually a separate campaign type from automatic and manual, and it has many different kind of targeting options. So you can do keyword targeting. We have category targeting. So there's a lot of different options, but it is completely separate from automatic and manual. So we can talk to you kind of about the right strategy for how to target search brand amplifier placement once it's available next year. Got it.
That's good to know. This is a question, I imagine this is maybe a good question for Jason, which is like, kind of what's the worry? This is from Pooja, is there any chance you could be putting ad spend behind products that aren't winning the buy box? Does it automatically pause spend? I guess, I know you have kind of some thoughts around that, just that block and tackle type thing right there.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful fail-safe is, and safety net that you have is, if you don't own the buy box, you're not going to serve up an advertisement for that product. So you're not going to be spending money if you're not winning the buy box. So the downside is you're not winning the buy box, but the upside is you're not spending money on products where you're not able to get the sale from that product.
Great, and I think this looks like we're kind of hitting the end of the questions here, so I think this could be a final one. We can wrap up a little early, which I think everyone has things to do, so that's perfectly fine. So in terms of the negative keywords, which obviously I know that's been a big desire from a lot of sellers, my initial thought was, right, this is going to be kind of restricted to manual campaigns, as you kind of outlined here. Is there anything roadmap-wise about extending this to automatic campaigns, or is this really squarely focused on manual for
now? From what I have, visibility to right now, it is to start with manual campaigns. We know, moving into automatic campaigns is also of interest, and that's, there's frequent requests. So it's certainly on the roadmap. I just don't have, concrete timing or anything that I can give you for that right now, but know that it's definitely on our roadmap for inclusion. We'll just be starting with manual campaigns first.
Great. Well, this was terrific, and there's a lot covered here, a lot of great stuff, and thank you so much for all the questions, all you folks out there. So again, Stephanie, Jason, thanks so much for the time. Some great content. Again, for all of you out there, you'll receive a recording of this webinar along with the slide deck you can review. And additionally, you'll be getting that again within roughly 24 hours. And stay tuned. Again, there'll be more webinars from us on Walmart, Amazon, just e-commerce in general coming up. So definitely keep your eyes out for that one. And thanks again. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Stephanie. Really appreciate it.